Hello folks, Mink back here, playing Planescape Torment. When we last left, we just started talking to Doll, and I think now is time to actually talk to Doll instead of just, looking at Doll. So, greetings. Whoa, Chief, what are you doing? I was going to speak to this scribe. He might know something about how I got here. Look, rattling your bone box with Dusty should be the last thing. Before Mort can finish his rant, the scribe begins coughing violently. After a moment or two, the coughing spell dies down and the scribe's breathing resumes its ragged wheeze. And we especially shouldn't be swapping the chant with sick Dusties. Come on, let's leave. The quicker we give this place to laugh, the bet. Before Mort can finish, the scribe's great eyes flicker to you. The weight of years hangs heavy upon me, restless one. He places down his quill, but I do not yet count deafness among my ailments. Restless one, do you know me? Know you? There is a trace of bitterness in the scribe's voice as he speaks. I have never known you, restless one, no more than you have known yourself. He is silent for a moment, for you have forgotten, have you not? Who are you? As always, the question, and the wrong question as always. He bows slightly, but the movement suddenly sends him into a bout of coughing. He pauses for a moment, catches his breath. I am Doll. Perhaps you can answer some questions for me, Doll.
Updated my journal.
Very well. What did you wish to know? We'll save the zombie for later. What is this place? You're in the mortuary, restless one. Again, you have come. Before he can finish, Doll breaks into a fit of coughing. After a moment, he calms himself and his breathing resumes its ragged wheeze. This is the waiting room for those about to depart the shadow of this life. Tell me about the mortuary. This is where the dead are brought to be interred or cremated. It is our responsibility as dustmen to care for the dead, those who have left this shadow of life and walked the path to true death. Doll's voice drops in concern. Your wounds must have exacted a heavy toll if you do not recognize this place. It is almost your home. Shadow of life? Yes, a shadow. You see, restless one, this life, it is not real. Your life, my life, they are shadows, flickerings of what life once was. This life is where we end up after we die, and here we remain, trapped, caged, until we can achieve the true death. True death? True death is non-existence, a state devoid of reason, of sensation, of passion. Doll coughs and then gives a ragged breath. A state of purity. Sounds like oblivion. Why would anyone want that? Is it worse than remaining in this shadow of what life once was? I think not. Tell me more about the mortuary. I think there was something else in... Was it this one? No. This one. What makes you think this life isn't real? What makes you think this life is real? Look inside yourself. Do you not feel something lacking? Doll shakes his head. This is a purgatory. There is only sorrow here, misery, torment. These are not the elements that make up life. They are part of the cage that traps us in this shadow. I think your fatalism has gotten the better of you. Those elements are parts of life, but not the whole of it. Dahl shakes his head. Passions carry weight. They anchor many to this shadow of life. As long as one clings to emotion, they will be continually reborn into this life, forever suffering, never knowing the purity of true death. I see. How does one escape the cycle of rebirth and achieve this true death? Kill your passions. Strip yourself of the need for sensation. When you are truly cleansed, then the cycle of rebirth will end, and you will achieve peace. Dahl sighs. It sounds like a death rattle in his throat. Past these shells of ours, past the eternal boundary, lies the peace that all souls seek. The eternal boundary. The boundary between the shadow of this life and the true death. Okay, more about the mortuary. Dustmen. We dustmen are a faction, a gathering of those of us that recognize the illusion of this life. We await the next life and help others on their journey. Perhaps you can explain why the dustmen want me dead. Dahl sighs. It is said there are souls who can never attain the true death. Death has forsaken them, and their names shall never be penned in the dead book. To awake from death as you have done suggests you are one of these souls. Your existence is unacceptable to our faction. Unacceptable? That doesn't sound like it leaves me in a good position. You must understand, your existence is a blasphemy to them. Many of our faction would order you cremated if they were aware of your affliction. You're a dustman. You don't seem to be in favor of killing me. Why not? Because forcing our beliefs upon you is not just. You must give up this shadow of your life on your own, not because we force you to. Dahl looks about to break into another coughing jag, but he manages to hold it in with some effort. As long as I remain at my post, I will protect your right to search for your own truth. What is your post? I am a scribe, a cataloger of all the shells that come to the mortuary. Dahl coughs again, then takes a deep breath. As long as the stream of corpses flows through the mortuary, I shall remain at my post. You say that I have been here more than once. How is it that the dustmen do not recognize me?
Updated my journal.
I am the one that catalogs the shells that come to our halls. Restless one. Dahl breaks into a fit of coughing, then steadies himself. Only I see the faces of those that lie upon our slabs. The dark of your existence lies safe with me. More about the mortuary. Sigil? Even though I don't think he mentioned sigil, somehow I know, sigil. Sigil is our fair city, Restless One. Okay, more about the mortuary. Wounds? Yes, the wounds that decorate your body. They look as if they would have sent a lesser man along the path of true death, yet it seems as if many of them have healed already. Dahl coughs violently for a moment, then steadies himself. But those are only the surface wounds. Only surface wounds? What do you mean?
Updated my journal.
I speak of the wounds of the mind. You have forgotten much, have you not? Mayhap your true wounds run much deeper than the scars that decorate your surface. Dahl coughs again. But that is something that only you would know for certain. I believe that was all about the mortuary. Nope. How did I get here? Dahl snorts in contempt as if he finds the memory repugnant. Your moldy chariot ferried you here to the mortuary, Restless One. You would think you were royalty based on the number of loyal subjects that lay stinking and festering upon the cart that carried you. I arrived here on a cart.
Updated my journal.
Yes, your body was somewhere in the middle of the heap, sharing its fluids with the rest of the mountain of corpses. Dahl breaks into another violent fit of coughing, finally catching his breath minutes later. Your seneschal, Farid, was, as always, pleased to accept a few moldy coppers to dump the lot of you at the mortuary gate. Who is this Farad? He is a collector of the dead. Dahl draws a ragged breath and then continues. We have such people in our city that scavenge the bodies of those that have walked the path of true death and bring them to us so that they may be interred properly. Where can I find this Farad? If events persist as they have, Restless One, you have a much greater chance of Farad finding you and bringing you to us again before you find whatever ooze puddle he wallows in this time. Nevertheless, I must find him. A slight warning creeps into Dahl's tone. Do not seek out Farad, Restless One. I am certain that it will simply come full circle again, with you none the wiser and Farad a few coppers richer. Accept death, Restless One. Do not perpetuate your circle of misery. I have to find him. Do you know where he is?
Updated my journal.
Dahl is silent for a moment. When he finally speaks, he seems to do so reluctantly. I do not know under which gutter stone Farad lairs at the moment, but I imagine that he can be found somewhere beyond the mortuary gates in the hive. Perhaps someone there will know where you can find him. Why don't you like Farad? There are some I respect, Restless One. Dahl takes a ragged breath and steadies himself. Farad is not one of them. He wears his ill repute like a badge of honor and takes liberties with the possessions of the dead. He is a knight of the post, cross-trading filth of the lowest sort. Knight of the post? A knight of the post, Dahl coughs. A thief. All Farad brings to our walls comes stripped of a little less of their dignity than they possessed in life. Farad takes whatever he may pry from their stiffening fingers. Did this Farad take anything from me? Dahl pauses, considering. Most likely. Are you missing anything? Especially anything of value? His voice dips as he frowns. Not that Farad would take exception to anything that wasn't physically grafted to your body, and sometimes even that's not enough to give his greedy mind pause. I am missing a journal. A journal? If it was of any value, then it is likely it lies in Farad's hands. I had some other questions. Can you tell me how to get out of here? The front gate is the most obvious exit, but they will not let anyone other than dustmen pass. Dahl breaks into a ragged cough, then continues. One of the guides by the front gate has a key to it, but it is unlikely he will open it for you unless you are extremely persuasive. I see. I had some other questions. Do you know who I am?
Updated my journal.
I know scant little of you, Restless One. I know little more of those that have journeyed with you and who now lie in our keeping. Dahl sighs. I ask that you no longer ask others to join with you, Restless One. Where you walk, so walks misery. Let your burden be your own. There are others who have journeyed with me. Are they here?
Updated my journal.
Do you not know the woman's corpse interred in the memorial hall below? I had thought that she had traveled with you in the past. Dahl looks like he's about to start coughing again, then catches his breath. Am I mistaken? Where is her body? The Northwest Memorial Hall on the floor below us. Check the beers there. Her name should be on one of the memorial plaques. Mayhap that will revive your memory. You said there were others. Who else is there? Doubtless there are, but I know not their names nor where they lie. One such as you has left the path many have walked, and few have survived. Dahl gestures around you. All dead come here. Some must have traveled with you once. I find no fault with your reasoning. I had some other questions. What do you do here? I am a scribe, a cataloger of all the shells that come to the mortuary. Dahl coughs again and takes a deep breath. As long as the stream of corpses flows through the mortuary, I shall remain at my post. We were already through this. More questions. You sound ill. Are you not well? I am close to the true death, Restless One. I will not be long before I pass beyond the eternal boundary and find the peace I have been seeking. I tire of this mortal sphere. Dahl gives a ragged sigh. The plains hold no more wonders for one such as I. Are you certain? There might be some way I could help you. I do not wish to live forever, nor live again, Restless One. I could not bear it. Very well. Did you know there was someone disguised as a zombie in the eastern chambers? Dahl stares at you. Are you certain? Yes, it's a good disguise.
Updated my journal.
Dahl breaks into another fit of coughing. After a minute or two, he catches his breath enough to speak. I shall inform the guards at once. Excellent. Farewell. As you turn to leave, Dahl speaks. Know this, I do not envy you, Restless One. To reborn as you would be a curse that I could not bear. You must come to terms with it. At some point, your path will return you here. Dahl coughs, the sound rattling in his throat. It is the way of all things flesh and bone. Then perhaps we will meet again, Dahl. Yeah, stupid fake zombie.
Done.
Get the guards up on you. Think you could threaten me? Got me in my sleep, huh? Well, he's still here. Talk to him again. You see the false zombie. You are amazed at the man's disguise. His breathing is so subdued you can barely see it. Yeah, let's leave him alone. He's gonna have his own problems. This door is locked. Huh. That door is also locked. Well, I guess we're going up. And here is where I cut it out in my test game.
Alright.
So, let's loot these. Not that there's anything to loot. Oh, a charcoal charm. What the heck is that? Plus 50% resistance to fire, plus 25% resistance to magical fire. This piece of charcoal is a charred bone fragment of some creature, perhaps a finger bone or a talon. Various symbols have been scratched onto its surface. The scratchings are so faint you almost miss them. This charcoal charm temporarily protects the user against flames and extreme heat. To use the charm, the charred bone is snapped and both halves are ground to powder. Then the charcoal dust is rubbed over the heart of the user. Wait, does that mean... Oh, Morgan can use that. He's a floating skull. He does not have a heart. For shame, game.
Alright.
Hey, a skeleton worker. That's new. A dustman. This skeleton, number 748, according to the number chiseled above its brow, is odd only in that some of its teeth appear to be false ones made of reddish-brown stone. They're clearly not valuable, however, as its caretakers would have otherwise removed them. There's an option to examine carefully, so let's do that. Someone has taken care to bind the bones of this skeleton with leather straps woven around the body in such a pattern that they resemble muscles and tendons. The straps are secured to metal bolts punched into the skeleton's joints. The skeleton looks like it has seen a great deal of service. Many of its bones are chipped and its numerous fractures are bound with sealant and foul-smelling glues. Why would we want to pry out its bolts? So let's just leave them in peace. Wonder if this Greybeard would mind if I borrowed his body. Greybeard? Greybeard, you know, geezer, old feller, yellow dog, old. Well, I don't think he's in any position to object. Why not take his body? Mort studies the skeleton for a moment and shakes his head. Nah, I'd need a fresher one than this. And something with a little more dignity. This one's all creaky and fractured. Oh, and you're not. Alright then, let's go. The air roaring from the mouth of this immense furnace is incredibly hot. Walking even a few steps past the archway would certainly cause your hair and flesh to burst into flame. Let's save the game. This is what I call all my saves, really. Just adventure. So, let's talk to the Dustman. The Dustman regards you with a stony gaze. Are you lost? No, I'm not lost. I had some questions. If you are not lost, what is your business here? I do not think number 2 would be smart. Number 1 seems also not smart. I was here for an interment. There seems to have been a mistake. I don't know what an interment is. So, I'm here to see someone. Who are you here to see? Don. Does he still work here, or... I am here to see Dahl. Dahl is most likely in the receiving room on the 2nd floor. He is quite busy and not in the best of health. Unless you have pressing business, I would not disturb him. Very well, thanks for the information. The Dustman nods, then returns to his duties. Look, I just stopped talking to you, bud. This skeleton seems particularly old, the leather straps binding it together cracked and worn. The word repent has been carefully engraved into its forehead with some amount of skill. A rougher hand later chiseled 996 onto both temples. Examine carefully. Someone is taking care. Okay, that's the same. How about this skeleton, Mort? Will it do as a body? No, I need a fresh one, blah blah blah. Alright. Another Dustman. Needle and thread. This corpse's slightly misshapen head appears to be held together by a number of narrow metal bands bolted directly onto the skull. A rusting iron plate over its left eye has the number 475 etched into it. Its mouth is bolted shut and it reeks of embalming fluid. See what I mean? They all have interesting descriptions. Are you lost? No. Here to see someone. Here Courtesy doll. Okay, so talking to the Dustman is pretty pointless. Again, I just stopped talking to you. Freaking Dustman. Even though that looked like a dust woman. Junk. Excellent. This is a collection of junk. Small springs, broken bolts, and a cracked gear or two. It looks like someone felt these pieces might be useful one day, but they seem pretty useless to you. Mort, you can carry the junk. Another Dustman. A red zombie. You there, hold. Oh no. The skin of this female corpse is heavily tattooed with intricate patterns. The skin of her brow has been peeled back so that the number 1148 could be chiseled into the skull beneath. Her mouth has been sealed shut with thick, rough stitching. Maybe I should run in this section. Is Mr. You there, hold, still trying to catch up with me? The numbers 613 are cut deeply into this plotting corpse's forehead, but an inch of shredded leathery skin separates the 1 and the 3. Looking closely, you can barely make out a 2 carved there. So that would be 6,123. That doesn't make sense, because I don't think they have that much. There's a 2. 1, 2, 3. 6, 1, 2, 3. I don't get it. You there, hold. Yeah. No. Mortuary sanctum key. This heavy key is a strange fusion of flesh, strange fusion of bone and unidentifiable blood-red metal. Its jagged, C-shaped head looks like it's ready to clamp down on whoever holds it. This key is used to open the inner gates of the mortuary. Let's go this way. Whew, that was close. You there, hold. This reanimated corpse has had its lips sewn together and the numbers 310 carved into its brow. The smell of formaldehyde permeates the area around it. It turns its lifeless eyes upon you as you move to bar its path. Corpse in peace. Talk to this one. The skeleton turns to face you. A 42 has been chiseled into its forehead, and a number of its bones, mostly the jaws and the joints, have been bound with leather straps. A black smock is draped over its body. I think this is the corpse I had the memory about. At the sound of your voice, the skeleton suddenly straightens up. It crosses its arms over its chest and its fingers hook into its rib cage. Cross your arms over your chest. In response, the skeleton drops its arms to its side. The leather cord securing the skeleton's torso snap and the rib cage folds outward like a pair of double doors. Reach into the rib cage, feel around. To your surprise, your hand vanishes as you reach inside the rib cage. You have a strange feeling it's somewhere else. As you reach inside the rib cage, your hand bumps against an invisible object. It's about the size of a fist and seems to be attached to the skeleton's spine. Well, let's take it out. As you pull the item out, the skeleton suddenly disintegrates, and the iron bolts securing its joints clatter to the floor. Whatever this item was, it seems to have been the only thing holding it together. Let's look at it. It looks like an unremarkable lump of iron. You can't imagine why someone would hide it inside the ribcage of a skeleton. Examine the iron. As you place both your hands on the lump of iron to examine it, there is a hiss, and the metal evaporates, leaving behind a strange dagger, a handful of coins wrapped in a dirty cloth, and 2 bloody teardrops. These look like they were inside the lump of iron. Take these items and leave. Huh. We could also get a wooden club. I mean, I don't see why.
Alright.
Come down here. Pause. Clot Charm heals 9 hit points. 5% resistance to slashing. 10% resisting to piercing. This glistening blood drop is as hard and smooth as a pearl. When placed on the tongue, it dissolves instantly and spreads through the user's bloodstream. The charm The charm stimulates the user's blood into clotting and scabbing over existing wounds, healing any minor damage the user may have suffered before consuming the charm. Furthermore, as long as the charm is in effect, the player's blood becomes more aware of new wounds that occur, especially any attacks that draw blood. The charmed individual becomes more resistant to slashing and piercing attacks as their blood clots and scabs over the wounds as soon as the flesh is torn. As soon as the flesh is torn. Again, does that mean... Yep, Mort can use them. He does not have flesh. Okay, you can carry the wooden club, which is essentially the arm. 1 to 4 piercing. 1 to 3 piercing. So, put that there. 2 to 4 crushing is still better. Rags. Thick, massive rags. Looks as if they were torn from a tapestry or someone's robes. Okay, you can have that, Mort. This way.
Alright.
More junk, I think we'll leave that.
I'm gone.
We'll wait for that zombie to get a little further away. Okay, we'll risk it. Despite the corpse's dry, leathery skin, it's clear this was once a beautiful woman of middle years. Whomever prepared the corpse seems to take pity on her, sewing her brow lips shut with small, neat stitches and tattooing the number 832 upon her forehead in elegant script. I guess he can't see me because he's not trying to hunt me down.
Alright.
Let's go down here. Nothing. Iron pry bar. 1 to 6 crushing. This iron pry bar can be used to pry open doors, chests, and even the occasional reluctant rip gauge. It also makes a good bludgeoning weapon when there's no time for subtlety. So we'll put the pry bar in there. Wait. That is not an iron pry bar. That is a giant morning star. But okay. Dustman request. And locked.
Forced it.
Open.
Well, no kidding, Mort. Yeah. 2 more clot charms, 83 copper. A note written on a scrap of dry parchment. Contact the necromancer responsible for raising contractual worker 42. I know he's examined the skeleton before, but I am certain the initial raising of the body was warped. The worker still responds to commands, but when it has completed a task, it resumes pacing on the same circular pattern as it did before. Dahl recently informed me that worker 42 exhibited that same walking pattern when it was a zombie decades ago. There may be a soul echo in the marrow, or the skeleton's age may have caused the magic reanimating him to decay. One of the initiates suggested it may be following an order issued by a higher-ranking dustman in the past, but I have found no records of such an order. Whatever the reason for its behavior, the matter is to be resolved or the worker replaced. Carry that. The corpse's meaty head was clearly severed at some point and hastily sewn back on. Several different sets of stitching, all in various states of unraveling, seem to indicate that the head is constantly being knocked back off and reattached during the course of its work. A number, 79, has been cut into its temple, circumscribed by a fanged circle that appears to have been branded on its forehead. Huh. Examine the fanged circle. The fanged circle looks like it was branded on the corpse's forehead long ago, presumably before it died. It might be a religious icon of some sort or a rite of passage. You notice that one of the recesses between the inner fangs has a small triangle within it, as if it has some special significance. I wonder if the space between the fangs matched the grooves on this copper earring I have.
Updated my journal.
The corpse makes no reply. Looks like it is too far gone to answer any of your questions. Series of strange grooves. Insert your fingernail into the notch that matches where the triangle was pointing in the fanged circle you saw on Zombie 79's forehead. Another 250. You hook your fingernail into the third groove from the top and press it inwards. As you do, there is a click and the top of the earring snaps open. Not only can you wear the earring now, it also looks like there is a secret compartment inside the earring. Huh. Shake it. You shake the earring, but nothing comes out. Whatever was hidden in the earring is gone now. Discovering the latch will allow you to wear it. In addition, the secret compartment may make the earring more valuable to a merchant. Huh. Yeah, what the heck, frees up an inventory slot. Let's put it on. This looks to be the corpse of a well-aged, even ancient woman. Aside from the embalming fluid stink, the stitches sealing her mouth, and the number 679 stitched onto her right cheek, it's likely she looks only slightly different now than she did in her final years. Peace. This animated skeleton smells horrible, as if it had been only freshly stripped and prepared. Its jaw and major joints are tightly bound with leather straps, and a rough smock has been thrown over it. The number 1221 has been chiseled into its forehead. How about this one? More fresher. They just said it was recently prepared. Alright.
I'm gone.
Whatever, Morte. Nothing. A hammer. And nothing. This is a heavy work hammer. It has a long handle and a metal head that looks like it could shape steel and crush skulls. We are only proficient in fist and edged.
I'm gone.
Yeah, the red zombie. Forgot about him. The number 1146 is carved into the forehead of this walking corpse. Its lips are sewn together with coarse black thread. The entire body is covered in horrible scars, worse even than your own, as if its owner had been burned to death. Its nose, ears, and several digits are missing, presumably charred away in some long ago conflagration. As you block its path to get its attention, it stops and gazes at you with vacant eyes. This skeleton has either seen a great deal of combat or has been fallen down one too many staircases. Both its arms and legs have been broken and rebuilt with the aid of leather straps and thin iron rods. The front of its skull bears the number 863, but the back of the skull has caved in, forming an empty cavity. You notice that someone has taken advantage of this and tucked a rolled up piece of parchment inside the skull. Okay, let's take the parchment. You slip the parchment out of the worker's skull. Oddly enough, it looks as if the skull cavity is intended to store messages. A tiny string is attached to the parchment from a hook bolted inside the skull, as if to keep the parchment from accidentally falling out. Unhook the string. You unhook the string and glance over the parchment. Looks like a reminder from one of the mortuary custodians. Judging from the note, the skeleton seems to be a walking messenger of sorts. As you take a second glance at the skeleton, you realize it has stopped in front of the slab because it can't figure out how to move past it. This rolled up piece of parchment appears to be some sort of message the skeleton in the mortuary was supposed to deliver. This is the third and last request for the pry bar. If it has been misplaced, tell me and I shall go to the hive market and purchase another. I have no objection to maintaining the contracted workers, but I've been trying to repair the skeletons and the bolts are wedged in so tight I can't get them out. Also, some of the locks on the storage cabinets on the third floor have become stuck again due to the heat, and I need the pry bar to snap them open as well. If the pry bar is indeed lost, I will see about procuring the services of a locksmith and having the cabinet locks replaced. Your aid in this matter would be appreciated. An unreadable signature has been scrawled beneath the message. Well, we got the pry bar now, so that's not a problem.
Done.
Nothing. A task list, an embalming charm. Someone has penned a series of tasks in red ink on this scrap of parchment. I would like the contracted workers to be inspected thrice daily at the end of each work shift when the new initiates come on duty. We've experienced too many contracted collapses while engaged in heavy labor as of late, and I fear the embalming enchantments initially used on the corpses may be decaying, or may have been warped somehow. If the contracted workers could be inspected every 8 hours and raised if they have collapsed, then this would prevent the backlog of shells in the preparation rooms and free up more contracted workers for other duties. I do not wish collapsed bodies to be disposed of. When possible, the original contracted shells are to be raised and made to resume their duties. I have included spare embalming charms within the shells for the initiates on duty. They're to be used only when the shells cannot be repaired with stitching, bandaging, or applications of embalming fluid. Invokes Embalming Miner. This strange metal bracelet has directions inscribed on the side of it. Judging from the crude text, it appears that the bracelet works by being held by a living creature. Then, while pronouncing a mantra to the true death, it is touched to the forehead of a zombie or skeleton. When this is done, the minor enchantment held within the item spreads through the corpse, strengthening their bones, killing the traces of corpse rot and or grave mold, and helping to seal minor tears in the skin. 2 to 8 temporary hit points, and a temporary bonus of 1 armor class for a half hour. The extra hit points will heal the target if he is less than max, or they'll give him bonus hit points for half hour. Okay. Can wear it as a bracelet. Or we could give it as a mort for a quick item. Clot charm. Locked. Bandages.
Forced it.
Abort current action. This.
Done.
83 copper commons, a bone charm, and a corpse fly charm. Bandages, charm. +2 armor class, +2 to armor class versus crushing. 15% resistance to crushing. This old finger bone charm has been hollowed out and tiny symbols have been scratched on its surface. The user must snap it in 2 to activate it. When snapped, the bone charm temporarily strengthens the user's skeleton and acts as a ward against breaks and fractures. Charm gives the user an overall bonus to their armor class and additional resistance against crushing attacks. Corpse Fly Charm invokes Swarm Curse. This corpse fly looks like it was frozen. It appears to be dead, but you can't be sure. The magic contained within the charm is activated when the insect is consumed. When swallowed, the recipient suddenly becomes extremely nauseous. A few seconds later, the charmed individual expels a stream of insects from their nose and mouth. Provided the charmed individual can keep their wits about them after the casting, the caster can send this cloud to attack a target. Interesting. We'll keep that. Actually, you know what? We'll give it to Mark 2. Why not? We'll keep the healing stuff on us. And I think that's it up here. So let's
Done.
go over here. See where these stairs go. You there, hold. Oh, okay, that was easy enough. Adventure. Make sure I want to overwrite. Yes. Oh, that takes us here.
All right.
Does that mean we can open this now? Yes, we can. Random pile of stuff. Read that already. Two bandages, cleaning rags, which I assume are different than the normal rags. Yep. This damp mass of rags looks like it's been used to mop up blood and other less savory bodily fluids. And other less savory. Ah, that's a shame.
I'm gone.
The especially ghastly looking female corpse is missing its ears, nose, and lips. In order to sew her jaw closed, whoever prepared her had to draw the skin especially tight around her mouth. You can still see a line of crooked yellow teeth, though, through the open slit that remains. The number 891 has been carved into the flesh of her brow.
I'm gone.
And again, I have to say, see? Every single one has some unique description about him. Except for this guy up here. Actually, I wonder if he was caught yet. Did the guards ever come? I guess they did. He's not here. They got me in my sleep, huh? Although, now I'm curious.
All right.
Will Dahl have anything to say about that? What, did they both go different directions? Yes, they did. Who's gonna win, folks? Oh, Mort won. That's a pretty wicked zoom-in effect. I like it. So, you have returned. They'll take some rasping breath and breaks into a violent coughing spell. After a moment, it subsides and he returns to his raspy breathing. Greetings again, restless one. Nope. He has nothing to say about the fake zombie. So, let's go back here.
All right.
Are they going to go separate ways again? No, they both decided on the same this time. I still like that zoom in effect. Baldur's Gate, the enhanced editions, didn't do that. Show walkable. Huh. That's neat. Alright, let's go down. Adventure. This doddering corpse has had its eyes sewn shut, as well as its mouth, and the number 732 is carved into its brow. The thread work that keeps its ocular cavities sealed looks extremely old. You wonder if the eyes were sewn shut before or after the man's death. You notice he is carrying a huge tome in his hands, as if taking it somewhere. Let's take it. You carefully take the tome from the corpse's hands. It doesn't seem to notice. The tome appears to be a book of enchantments and wards. It is filled with diagrams and charts detailing various aspects of the necromantic arts. The book itself is extremely heavy. As awkward as the zombie is, it must be extremely strong. Tome of Bone and Ash. This worn leather-brown tome lists diagrams and charts detailing several minor wards and enchantments. There are numerous drawings of skeletons, bones, and the manner by which they may be preserved over time. Of particular interest is the section regarding guardians. Apparently, the dustmen animate corpses of fallen giants to serve as guardians for the mortuary. To make them even deadlier, armoring enchantments are woven into their breastplates to help shield them from attacks. The book is much too complex for you to absorb all at once. but it looks as if you could refer to certain sections when a need arises. Wow, that thing weighs 5 pounds. We will keep that. Because why not?
All right.
Another rusty, blood-covered slab. You see a male corpse with the number 331 chiseled into his skull. His eyes and lips are stitched closed, and there is a gaping hole torn in his throat. He smells foul. It was great smelling you. Farewell. Hello, Dustman. Whoa, this guy runs. The Dustman regards you with a stony gaze. Are you lost? No. I'm here to see someone. Here to see Doll. Very well. Walk away. This reanimated male corpse has the numbers 1041 carved into its forehead. Despite its taut, desiccated flesh, it is apparent that its features once had a rather exotic cast to them. The zombie's lips have been stitched closed, most likely to prevent it from moaning incessantly, and it smells strongly of formaldehyde. This is a heavy barred gate of rusted steel. There doesn't appear to be any way of opening it. No, why are you still here? This woman's corpse pauses in its trudging about as you approach. You notice the number 114 is carved into her forehead. Her mouth has been sewn shut, but the threading is slowly coming loose and faint moans issue from between her lips. You know, I never thought of that about why they sewed the lips shut. Makes sense. Huh. That's, interesting. Music changed. The plaque on this bier says, "Here lies Dayanara." This looks like a large tomb. The marble surface gives it a rather elegant look.
Done.
You see a strikingly beautiful, ghostly form before you. Her arms are crossed and her eyes are closed. She has long, flowing hair, and her gown seems stirred by some ethereal breeze. As you watch, she stirs slightly, and her eyes flicker. Greetings?
You! What is it that brings you here? Have you come to see firsthand the misery you have wrought? Perhaps in death I still hold some shred of use for you, my love.
Who are you? The spirit makes a begging motion with her hands. How can it be that the thieves of the mind continue to steal my name from your memory? Do you not remember me, my love? The ghost stretches out her arms. Think. Her voice becomes desperate again. The name Dayanara must evoke some memory within you. No. I think I feel the stirrings of memory. Tell me more. Perhaps your words still chase the shadows from my mind, Dianara. Oh, at last the fates show mercy. Even death cannot chase me from your mind, my love. Do you not see? Your memory shall return. Tell me how I can help you, and I shall. Do you know who I am? You are one both blessed and cursed, my love, and you are one who is never far from my thoughts and heart. Blessed and cursed. What do you mean? The nature of your cursed should be apparent, my love. Look at you. She points at you. Death rejects you. Your memories have abandoned you. Do you not pause and wonder why? I'm still trying to get my bearings, actually. What else can you tell me about myself? I know that you once claimed you loved me, and that you would love me until death claimed us both. I believed that, never knowing the truth of who you were and what you were. And what am I? I cannot. She suddenly freezes, and she speaks slowly, carefully, as if her voice frightens her. The truth is this. You are one who dies many deaths. These deaths have given the knowing of all things mortal, and in your hand lies the spark of life and death. Those that die near you carry a trace of themselves that you can bring forth. As Dianara speaks the words, a crawling sensation wells up in the back of your skull. You suddenly feel compelled to look at your hand. As you lift it up and look at it, you can see the blood coursing sluggishly through your arm, pouring into your muscles, and in turn, giving strength to your bones.
Updated my journal.
1,000 experience. And you know Dianara is right. You suddenly remember how to coax the dimmest spark of life from a body and bring it forth. The thought both horrifies you and intrigues you. You have remembered how to raise others from the dead. To access this ability, select the Special Abilities button. You can only use this on party members who have died in your presence. It will not work on anyone who does not travel with you, and it will not work on party members you remove from the party while they are dead. I had other questions. What is it you wish to know? Who are you? Okay, we've been through this. Can you tell me where I am? Where are you? Why, you are here with me, my love. As in the times when life was something both of us shared. Now it is the eternal boundary that separates us. Eternal boundary? Dianara sounds saddened. It is a barrier I fear you shall never cross, my love. It is the barrier between your life and what remains of mine. See? I need to escape this place. Can you help me? As you are about to ask Dianara the question, it catches in your throat. It occurs to you that if you tell her you are looking for an escape route, she may feel you are abandoning her. If you are going to ask her how to leave, you'll need to be delicate about it. Well, just lying seems a little wrong. This one just kind of It has no... Yeah, no. Can you tell me how to leave this place? Leave? DNR's voice drops to a hiss, then rises again. Leave? You ask me, who am trapped here because of you, how to leave this place. Okay, so I guess we're lying. Dayanara, I am in danger. Can you guide me to a place of safety? I shall return as soon as I can to speak to you again. In danger? Dayanara looks concerned. Of course, my love. I will aid you any way I can. She closes her eyes for a moment, and you watch an ethereal zephyr pass through her body, stirring her hair. After a moment, the zephyr dies, and her eyes slowly open. Perhaps there is a way. Yes. I sense that this place holds many doors shrouded from mortal eyes. Perhaps you could use one of these portals as a means of escape. Portals? Portals are holes in existence leading to destinations in the inner and outer planes. If you could find the proper key, you could escape through one of them. Key? Dayanara pauses for a moment, as if attempting to remember. Portals will reveal themselves when you have the proper key. Unfortunately, these keys can be almost anything. An emotion, a piece of wood, a dagger of silvered glass, a scrap of cloth, a tune you hum to yourself. I fear that the dustmen are the only ones who would know the keys you could use to leave their halls, my love. Well, I guess I'll have to ask one of them then. Farewell. Hold a moment. I learned much when I traveled with you, my love, and what you have lost I have retained. I have not divulged all that I know to you. My sight is clear, whilst you fumble in the darkness for a spark of thought. And what is it your sight sees that I do not? Time itself relaxes its hold as the chill of oblivion slowly claims us, my love. Glimpses of things yet to come swarm across my vision. I see you, my love. I see you as you are now, and... Dayanara grows quiet. What is it? What do you see? I see what lies ahead for you. It ripples through the plains, stemming outward from this point. Shall I speak of what I see? Yeah, sure. You know, the game might not essentially turn out this way. First, I require a promise. Promise you will return, and that you will find some means to save me or join me. Oh my. Oof. See, I'm not really the type that... Ugh. You know, giving vows is... I will do what I can. Dayanara stiffens. She looks as if she is about to say something, then sighs in defeat. Very well, my love. As before, I shall have to place my trust in you. She closes her eyes. Wait.
This is what my eyes see, my love. Unfettered by the shackles of time. You shall meet enemies 3, but none more dangerous than yourself in your full glory. They are shades of evil, of good, and of neutrality. Given life and twisted by the laws of the planes. You shall come to a prison built of regrets and sorrow, where the shadows themselves have gone mad. There you will be asked to make a terrible sacrifice, my love. For the matter to be laid to rest, you must destroy that which keeps you alive, and be immortal no longer.
Destroy what keeps me alive.
I know that you must die, while you still can. The circle must come to a close, my love. You were not meant for this life. You must find that which was taken from you and travel beyond, into the lands of the dead.
Die while I still can.
Updated my journal.
I do not doubt your ability to rise from the dead. I do believe that every incarnation weakens your thoughts and memories. You claim you have lost your memory. Perhaps it is a side effect of countless deaths. If so, what more will you lose in successive deaths? If you lose your mind, you will not even know enough to realize that you cannot die. You shall truly be doomed. Countless deaths. How long has this been going on? I do not truly know, except that it has gone on long enough. Alright. Goodbye, Dianar.
I shall wait for you in death's halls, my love.
You back with me, Chief? You kind of drifted out on me there. No, I'm fine. Do you know who that spirit was? Yeah, spirit? That specter I was talking to, the woman. You were rattling your bone box with some woman. Where? Mort looks around excited. What did she look like? She was right on top of the beer. Didn't you see her? No, you just kind of drifted out for a bit there. Just stood there, statue-like. I was a little worried you'd gone addled on me again. No, I'm fine, I think. Let's move on.
I feel stronger.
Hey, we gained a level.
All right.
So, let's level up. Now, I will also say... No, let's save the game. Adventure. That I do not have max hit points turned on in the settings, because I am one of those, you know, old school role players. I'm fine with not having max stats on everything or max hit points. So, let's see if that's true. You see, I only gained 8 hit points. Saving throws have improved, fighting skills have improved, 1 character points gained. But the normal for a fighter is 10. I only gained 8. Let's accept that. I get a character point. Can I spend it in wisdom? Yeah, I can. Oh. 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 Oh my. You know what? We're gonna go with intelligence. Wisdom, going to a 19 is tempting, but I don't know. See, I just don't know. We'll roll with this. Intelligence. And I am still going to do that. However, just to prove my point here, we will load the game. Adventure. Load.
I feel stronger.
Here we got our level. Level up. And there I only gained 6 hit points. See, I don't have the max hit points turned on. So every time I level up, it will be random. And as such, since I did that, I will keep these 6. And I will spend my point in intelligence exactly like I did before. And with that, we will end this episode and finish, well, I won't say finish because honestly this seems a bit longer than I remember it being, the mortuary here. But this will be the end of this episode. So until next time, this is Mink, playing Planescape Torment. Goodbye.